Since 1969, Muammar Gaddafi has controlled nearly everything in his country: business, media, military, and oil. As he grabbed more power, he expelled American and Western gas companies and investors, tortured and assassinated Libyan opposition. By 1980, the U.S. had severed all diplomatic ties.
Well, Gaddafi is an irresponsible animal who has no scruples, he has no morals.
In the early 80s, tension between the U.S. and Libya intensified.
We know that this mad dog of the Middle East has a goal of a world revolution, Muslim fundamentalist revolution, which is targeted on many of his own Arab compatriots.
After years of minor skirmishes between U.S. and Libyan aircraft, Gaddafi turned into public enemy number one. Bombings in Rome, Vienna, and then a disco in West Berlin frequented by Americans, all linked to Libya. The U.S. retaliates.
At 7 o'clock this evening, Eastern Time, air and naval forces of the United States launched a series of strikes against the headquarters, terrorist facilities, and military assets that support Muammar Gaddafi's subversive activities.
That attack left 100 Libyans dead, including Gaddafi's daughter. Some believe for revenge, Gaddafi responded with a bomb aboard Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, leaving 270 dead. The UN Security Council answered with crippling sanctions. After years of refusing in 1999, Gaddafi finally relented, handing over the Lockerbie suspects. Following the September 11th attacks in the Iraq War, Gaddafi went even further. Libya took responsibility for the bombing and agreed to compensate the victims' families. The UN lifted sanctions. And that same year, Gaddafi abandoned his efforts to develop weapons of mass destruction.
Colonel Gaddafi correctly judged that his country would be better off and far more secure without weapons of mass murder.
The U.S. eased travel restrictions and Western oil companies returned. The U.S.'s closest ally, Great Britain, took the lead.
I am conscious of the pain that people who have suffered as a result of terrorist actions in the past must feel, but the world is changing.
In September of 2008, U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice met with Gaddafi in Libya, the first such meeting between Libya and a high-ranking U.S. official in over half a century.
Well, I thought he was serious. He said at one point that it has taken too long, that the lessons of history had to be learned.
But the very next year, with Great Britain's cooperation, Scotland released one of the Lockerbie bombers on humanitarian grounds, which sparked outrage. Scotland allowed the bomber, who was said to be terminally ill, to go home to Libya to die. But he is still alive today. His release has raised questions about if there was something else at play behind the deal, further complicating the thawing relationship between Libya and the West. Suzanne Malveaux, CNN, Atlanta.